Right now, as I make this video, tax time is currently over, but that does not mean that you should stop learning about taxes, because taxes will come around again next year, and you should never stop learning. One thing that you should definitely learn about is what's called the American Opportunity Tax Credit, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to discuss the who, what, when, where, why, and how much. Pretty much everything that you would realistically need to know about the American Opportunity Tax Credit and if it can benefit you or someone that you might know. Let's first talk about who is eligible to receive this tax credit. But before I do that, I just want to say what a tax credit actually is. So a tax credit is very, very powerful because a tax credit, if you qualify for one, will reduce your tax bill dollar for dollar. So if you have a $2,000 tax bill to pay to the IRS and you have a tax credit of $1,000, that it means that you only actually have to pay the IRS $1,000 in that hypothetical example. But for the American Opportunity Tax Credit, who is eligible is a degree or credential seeking student, and they have to be attending school at least half-time or more. You have to have not already finished a 4-year degree, or that person seeking it. You had to have claimed this credit, the American Opportunity Tax Credit, for less than 4 years previously. So this credit is only good for 4 years for that person who is trying to take the credit. So, because it's intended to be for the first 4 years of your college or for your undergraduate degree or whoever, if you are supporting a student. And additionally, you just cannot have a felony drug conviction in order to take this tax credit. Next, let's talk about what. So I already talked about what a tax credit is. It reduces your tax bill dollar for dollar, and this American Opportunity Tax Credit, it exists for the first 4 years of education. Now, when it comes to when you can take it within the first 4 years of higher education. Or if you are a parent, say, supporting a student, you can claim it for their first 4 years of their education. Taxes might not be the most fun thing to talk about, but they're definitely really important to know, and they're definitely very essential to understand in order to maximize your cash flow, legally reduce the amount of taxes that you pay, and that is why I talk a lot about taxes on this channel. On cash flow, a big part of it is optimizing your tax position. And if that's something that sounds good to you, then please make sure that you like this video if you're enjoying it so far, and you subscribe to the channel and put on that bell for notifications, because every single week I'm putting out new information on personal finance, including on taxes. Currently Tuesdays and Fridays at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will have a new video out for you, and I just know that there's something that I can help you with. But getting back to the tax credit, let's talk about where you actually claim this tax credit. So this tax credit actually has its own form called Form 8863, and I'll go ahead and put that on the screen for you right now. So as you can see on Form 8863, this is the Education Credits form, and this actually covers the American Opportunity Tax Credit and the Lifetime Learning Tax Credit, which is a completely separate tax credit. This is a document that you would need to submit in order to claim this tax credit on your taxes. But if you are using a tax filing software, then they should automatically fill it out for you. Now let's talk about why this tax credit even exists. Now, this particular tax credit, I think it exists for the reason of incentivizing higher education. Because the government loves to have educated citizens, because what do educated citizens do? They are more productive, they make higher incomes, and they pay higher taxes. And the government just loves that. And so they are investing in you by giving you this incentive to pursue higher education. They are giving you this tax credit. Don't pay taxes now, because they are hoping that in the future you will end up paying a lot more taxes than what you saved on this tax credit. Now that's good and all, right? But let's talk about how much this tax credit is actually worth. That's probably the most important thing, and I know that that is the number one thing I look for when I'm searching tax credits that I might qualify for. Well, the American Opportunity Tax Credit is worth up to $2,500 per student, and this is going to be per year for 4 years, as I've mentioned before. So the way it's calculated is that you calculate the first 100% on the first $2,000 that you spend for your higher education, for your qualified expenses. That is going to be 100% covered. And then you get 25% on the next $2,000. So in order to claim the full credit for one student, they have to have at least $4,000 of total out-of-pocket qualified education expenses that qualify for this credit. Because the first $2,000 is matched at 100%. and the next $2,000 is matched at 25%. And if you do the math on that, you add them together, it ends up being $2,500. And again, that is per student. Now here's another fun thing about the American Opportunity Tax Credit, is that actually it is partially refundable. 40% of this tax credit is refundable. And if you do the math on that, that is actually $1,000 that is refundable. And refundable actually means that if the tax credit, or if you just don't have a tax bill at all, your tax bill for that year is zero, you can qualify potentially to get $1,000 sent to you via the government, because this is a refundable tax credit. And that is 40% of the $2,500, which means that it would be $1,000. Now, you take whatever amount you qualified for and you multiply that by 40%, that is the maximum amount that is refundable to you. And you can get a refund for this, say for example, if this actual tax credit brings your tax bill to below zero, or if you have other tax credits or other tax deductions that bring your tax bill below zero, then this actual tax credit itself is the refundable part. Now, most people, I believe, can actually take this tax credit for their own first 4 years of college, or say for their children's first 4 years of college, if they're dependents. But there are phase outs. And just like with most other tax credits, phase outs means if you make over a certain amount of money, then you're going to get phased out where you don't qualify for the credit because you have such a high income. So currently in 2020, you get the full credit if your modified adjusted gross income, which is basically your adjusted gross income with a few things added back, is below $80,000 if you're single, or below $160,000 if you're married filing jointly. So if you're under those thresholds, then you're good. If you qualify for the credit, you're going to get the maximum credit. Now, if your income falls to be above $90,000 if you're single, or above $180,000 if you're married filing jointly, then you get no credit at all. So you can see there's a pretty thin margin between that. Now, in between those amounts, say for $80,000 and $90,000, if you're single, between that you get phased out. And married filing jointly, between $160,000 and $180,000, anywhere between that you get phased out. So above that, no credit; below that, full credit. And then you have that small in-between space where you get phased out, which basically means you get a little bit less of a credit if you are in that income range. And I think the easiest and the best way to find out if you might be eligible for the American Opportunity Tax Credit is to simply just use the IRS tool on their website. It basically asks you some questions. You answer it honestly to the best extent of your knowledge. It'll give you a pretty accurate output on whether you are eligible for the credit and how much it's going to be. And I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below for that as well to help you out. But the best part is that now that you know about the American Opportunity Tax Credit, there is so much more to learn. And if you are ready to learn more, make sure that you watch this video that I made about how to achieve financial independence in 10 years. It is a full blueprint, and I know there's a lot of stuff that you can learn in there. I'm Zach from uncashflow.com, and I hope to see you next time.